What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. We've got lots to love with this one, as we are now going straight into the big weeks with the Darkin banner releasing. Lots of rewards, lots of activities, and lots of fantastic girls to join your team. I'm really looking forward to this, and I know a lot of folks are excited too, so let's just go ahead and dive right in.
I wanna be immortal, like a god in the sky. I wanna be a silk flower.
To go with our intro, we're going to be seeing a ton of events, and for my perspective of this week's event review, I'm going to just dive straight into the normal events that we've got going on. I want to make a dedicated video to what the Lingering Dream Darkin banner and Darkin altar event is, and then another video separated for the Endless Trials, one of our new limited, I believe, cycling activities for PvE modes that we'll want to take ourselves a little bit more in depth into what characters and what teams need to be done. But this video is dedicated strictly to the events. So with that on note, Darkin walking again. We are greeted with the Darkin banner overall, with Callan, Sayana, and Morsta making their debut. No other characters with this one. It's just our regular three. Another good shot at trying to get them completed for your team. Clicking onto that, Race Clash is evolved for my cluster. Morsta makes a little bit of a debut here with an outfit. Looks like we get to experience the story and the defaults of this Darkin banner, with Morsta being the default, but you can always switch to any others when you're pulling. But the storyline and everything, from what I read so far, is taking the perspective from Morsta, who I think was also the most recent of the Darkin to join our groups here, or to join the game. So continuing on, UR Resident Skier steps in, so we get to take a rifle to this angry goblin and try and get ourselves some UR gear. Going ahead and cover that when we get to it. And then the Morsta Veiled Jade. This is referring to the outfit that's available in the closet. If we go ahead and just get started with that, immediately you'll notice we have three outfits. Of course, Morsta in all of her glory, Sayana in her allure, and finally Callan with that bit of mystique, professionalism, but also her little ghosties following her along. So remember, none of these are the interactive ones. They are just the standard ones you can purchase for 90 tickets or 180 outfit tokens. All of them giving you the 15% extra stats. Makes it worthwhile if you are building and collecting, but at the same time, some of them include emotes and stickers, so make sure you keep an eye out for those. I believe it's Morsta's here that has the little face here, like an emoticon. Beautiful outfits for your girls if you are pulling for them. I've already gone ahead and done my dailies here. It looks like we received something. Okay, so I guess I'll go ahead and cover this, but for any folks who were looking to dive right into the Dark Altar, it did not immediately sync up and was delayed for a couple of extra hours, even though the other events were on. And so I'm currently trying to go ahead and cover all the other events, but the Dark Altar itself, seeing as we've got some mail here, is giving us an extra 10 pull with the 3,000 sacrificial stones. So very good on development team and the game managers to look out for the community and provide a little bit of an extra reward or compensation for the maintenance on the delay. So very appreciative of the team's efforts on that. Thanks again for putting up a wonderful event. Let's go ahead and go through the limited time events. Again, we're going to be covering the Dark Altar in a separate video, so keep an eye out for that. Though we will talk about some of the girls on this one. But going ahead with the Dirty Goblin here, we go ahead and take some shots at him with different resources here to try and get ourselves some UR equipment. Now, the way that this event works is you should be able, if you spend gems, to pick up one of these UR events or UR weapons. Dynasty Destruction is the newest one joining us this week. We've always had High Energy and Arrow's Guard. Personally, in my opinion, I am wanting to make sure that my supports have the best equipment to help out any of the DPSs that we plug into a team, and supports such as Moose, Odil, and even Callan with this current event are gonna always want to have the Arrow's Guard to make the most out of their support boosts. So for me, that is the one I personally want to take. Dynasty Destruction and High Energy Sword are pretty okay for your DPS damage dealers. High Energy Sword with 3 stones is a very popular option. Dynasty with 3 stones as well. But once you've really got yourself going on towards 3 stones on one of these weapons, you can look to switch to the other one just to make sure your team is flush. Or if you're going to continue to build it up and you have an objective in mind, then you can go ahead and do that. But personally, I feel that the Arrow's Guard makes the most sense for me. So if we can get some shards off of that, I'd be very happy. You know, we take a shot at him, he dodges. You could get lucky, but it's a guaranteed grand prize within the 80 total shots. So I'll go ahead and do my multi-team. I did my dailies and my login. So right, we go ahead and logged in into our shop. We can go ahead and spend some of these extra resources that we get for fragments or for a whole weapon if you're really taking a shot to this guy. I'm gonna go ahead and spend some gold, as well as this daily limit pack. This is the one that you would need to purchase to have a shot at completing it. And remember, this event is only for 7 days. So I've been saving my gems up because it's time that I start building up some of these. I'll consider this later depending on how close I get. There are only 5 as well. And then in the token shop, there are only event limit packs, and you would have to spend tickets for these. Depends on how close that happens. So if I go ahead and take some additional shots, we'll see if our guy can drop any resources. He's just dropping us some little potions. So all right, we'll take that. Let's take the gems. More potions, more gems. And final shot gives us one of these fragments. So these treasure map fragments is what we can use in the shop, exchange shop section, to get some items. Last time I was stacking up on these just to make sure that I could finish putting up my gear. But that's the hunting plan. Take a look at the abilities that you got here, and maybe we can make a video that's covering those in a little bit more detail. But to go with the hunting plan, there is also going to be a ranking reward for gear. So I wonder if it's going to go through the whole cycle where we get outfits and pets as well. I've been putting up my gear for quite some time now and have a little bit more to build. I was waiting to see if another event like these would come up. But you can go ahead and compete on the leaderboards for how many resonance gear pieces you have built to earn the corresponding rewards. In first place, there's a nice little resonance gear master or gems if you already have the frame. The top crate is also the laser gun or the twin swords, 100 fragments, so pretty huge. We went ahead and did our dailies, so we'll get some gold and some more potions. And in promotion, you can go straight to the resonance gear laboratory so you can upgrade that equipment, or spend gems and tickets for some more equipment here. So this one's the double one, which is pretty okay value if you are looking to just ramp up your gear. This is probably the best value for tickets on the gear, this pack right here. I would probably ignore this one. Not exactly necessary, but if you are really close, maybe consider it. All in all, this one also has a doubles. You could just spend the 300. Is not bad. Not bad value at all, but I would personally prefer this one if you are spending tokens for your resonance gear. All right. Let's see. Login gift. I think we skipped this one when we were going through the banners by looking at the outfits, but for login all 7 days, you'll be able to just collect the reward. So it looks like this box is the mark option 1. Gets us a couple of marks, and then these tokens down here are pretty neat. But we'll go ahead and take our gems for logging in on the first day. Going to see this again just for tonight. Next, crazy gacha, which, speaking of resonance gear, is giving us another shot at a hyper laser gun or the photon twin swords. This one, you can just go ahead and cruise through it during the week, collect your login rewards, as well as additional rewards if you pull for a certain amount. See where that was. Spend tokens, you can spend gems if you want, but personally I feel that it's not too rewarding. But if you complete 50 draws, you get an extra 10, and if you actually start accumulating extra draws, you can get some more. It's a nice way to get some extra gear or these items over here, but I'll tell you that the cost is a little warped and not in your favor after the first round. So by the end of the week, you should be able to clear all of these out and also collect the top box, but spending beyond that is not going to be as effective in this event, in my opinion. So we'll go ahead and draw. There's a number of resources left for each, so that's why you can see as we draw the 10, you know, whatever we draw here, we'll deduct 4 of these boxes from whatever's left, and so on and so on. There's these rare items, which are pretty nice. Finally, followed by the grand prize, where if you pull it, you can reset and keep going. Let's try again. Login gift covered, monthly gift covered. Next, we have the emergency supply, which also by logging in will get you the top row for free, you know, just across all 7 days. But this one, because it includes 3,000 sacrificial stones for the Dark Altar, ending in 5,000 on the 7th day for 128 tickets. This one is very cost effective. One of the few ways to really get a whole bunch of these in one go, in one pack, compared to what you would see in the regular altar shop. So by looking at these, even if you only have 36 tickets for a couple of them, it's a nice amount that will set you up really well to get the character that you're trying to pull on the Dark Altar. So as a mid spender, whenever Dark Altar rolls around every 2 months, this emergency supply is actually very worth it for the use of tickets, and could get you to that last copy that you need for your Darkin character. Alright, Event 0 is another one that we will do separately because stamina events tend to come up on different frequencies. So Event 0 is another pillar event, uses AP. So if you've been hoarding it up for some time, you can go ahead and spend it so you can get some additional equipment in addition to the different rewards that you pull. So I'm gonna hang on to that one. We will do a separate video sort of covering how it's broken down. Okay, so that's done. Don't need to chat right now. Chosen box. Now this is one that I am seeing for the first time. When looking through it, I am noticing that there's no currencies to actually pool with. We just straight up make a purchase of the whole bundle for this price, or one draw to try and one by one draw to the grand prize. The grand prize being some rare weapon tickets and an awakened chip. These down here give you tokens and gems, tokens and more gems, and then a lot less tokens and gems. Oh, yikes. This one's not too bad, actually. You're getting some rainbow tickets. And then 500 gems, 1,000 gems. Okay. So, yeah, this box here seems to be okay value. I'm not sure what to think about it. It doesn't look like these rewards change, because once you get the grand prize, you can reset, and all of these stay the same. So you're just dumping into the chosen boxes. If this increases, that would be pretty interesting, but I don't see any sort of like table that shows what the rewards are, and I'm not necessarily about to spend here. So maybe make a post about it, but I don't know how I feel about this one. This one's straight dollar to resources instead of using tokens. Power Up also returns with a photo wall showing beach party themes, but there's only one beach outfit. Okay. Giving you a couple of emotes to use in the game chat for 24 tokens. If you already have them, you will instead get an exchange rate equal to a couple of the stamp tickets, so you can purchase other emoticons from the outfit and stamp shop. So keep an eye out for that. If you already have these, I think I've seen these already, and I do have all of them personally. I would just get a whole bunch of tickets, but I have a lot already, so I'm gonna stare at that event, and it looks pretty cool. All right, in the event, we got daily deals, did my sign up, the multi-day purchase is back, and this one's looking all right. You get 5 for 300. Okay, it's pretty good. The rest are kind of this pet box though for 800, pretty good value. Finally, yeah, no, I don't think anyone's gonna go that far, but hyper laser guns, photons, yeah, for anyone, usually the cutoff point is around 2,000 to 3,000. Anyone's braver or actually grinding towards something, you know, more power to you. But down here for mid spenders, probably the pet box is where you try to aim for. The other ones to make it there is okay. Exchange event seems to be very interesting. I'll go ahead and do my missions. It's getting me some pet feed for completing the dailies. I didn't even summon. Oh, I have to summon 5. Daily mine 3. Oh, okay. Well, good thing we caught that here. I'll go ahead and do that afterwards. But you can go ahead and exchange UR pets. So if this comes up in the future and we get new UR pets, there's a chance that this event would be one of the ways to merge some of your current pets into others. But mine's already built, so it's not really going to work. I would have to have like a loose fragment, say I was saving or holding onto some of them to exchange for Queen Flora, Chowfang, or someone else that exists. Also for UR weapon fragments, if we were working on like a sword and had extra fragments and we want to put them towards here at the Dynasty Destruction, we would be able to exchange them here or any of the 3 weapons, any leftovers that we have. This is pretty neat. If I was trying to swap over to Phantom Cloak or try to build a shield after having extra copies of the symbol, I could do that here. And now this one's neat. Everyone has extra SSR marks that we're kind of just hanging around and doing nothing with. Or if you've been having trouble getting the other copy of Soulmate Mark 1 or Mark 2, this would be the way to get it. Get the extra copy that you need. The really strong ones are down here though. For 500 of each of these gene coins, you're always going to want to get at least 1 or 2 copies of Blessing for your support girls, increasing the effectiveness of the buffs applied by the wearer. And also the Heart Link, which is just overall good damage reduction to non-lethal damage that's distributed across the wearer and other allies. But you still get that 12% damage reduction, which is always good. If your team is loaded with these, it's going to be very difficult to crack through those defenses and break through to take the girls out, especially if you have ones that are lower leveled and aren't as maxed out as they could be. This is one good way to protect them, especially in high pressure PvE modes. And this is going to be advanced material for upgrading your equipment, and then Cloak is down here all by itself. Just Cloak? Yeah, it's just Cloak. A little weird. Why would I exchange Cloak for a Cloak? A little weird. Alright, for your daily top-ups, this time around we're getting potions. So if you're working on Resonance Gear, that seems to be the underlying tone of this whole event. Is, you know, you're building up your Resonance supplies, as well as the potions to upgrade them. And marks as well. So let's go ahead and look at those. You know, we can take care of those too. So because it is a Dark Altar week and you can only pull for Darkin girls, remember that rainbow tickets cannot be used. You have to use the sacrificial stones. But you do have access to the weapons. So if you were saving your tickets, remember that it's every 60 pulls that triggers a pity. I am considering starting with Callan. So I'm gonna start sorting for Callan's Annihilation Pandora. Pandoro? Oh, it's a Pandora to me. It's a little hidden. For Callan's exclusive weapon. And then, you know, keep an eye out on Dreamweaver because I also like Morsta a lot. So that would be our way to select. As you can see, all the other ones are not available, including Saint. Only Darkin. And if we're pulling for it, then you get to see it. But we're gonna do a whole gacha series. Keep an eye out for all the different type of content that we can have happening. Let me just make sure that as part of our rate here that we can get other weapon. see. SR weapons. SR weapons. Oh, doesn't look like it. No other SSR weapons are available here. You could lose the pity and get a different girl's weapon, which if I lose Callan's, I'll be happy to get Morstas, but with Cyanna, I'm not really trying to pull her right now, and I'll explain that here in a moment. Fire support is looking packed with a whole bunch of different marks. 2 of them for Cyanna, 2 of them for Callan, except this one's universal support, and 2 of them kind of universal but are dedicated to Morsta. So looking at Cyanna first, Sword Heart here lets you gain a defense ignore for up to 2 rounds, up to 2 stacks, up to 3 per team. Really good for your DPS girls, especially if they are in the Sword Hunt state. So you'll want to have Cyanna on the team to make the most use out of this mark. Then Soul Sword mark. Each action increases the total damage boost of all allies equipped with the Soul Sword mark by 5%, up to 2 turns, and stacks up to 3 times. So that could be 15%. For each stack of Soul Sword consumed by Cyanna, so she has to be on the team, you get some additional damage boosts up to 1%. So you don't really need Cyanna for the first part of this ability. But for the second one, when you're consuming sword souls, with Cyanna being on the team, you're increasing that damage boost by 1% up to 12%. Pretty sweet. That's what, if you're getting 15, then you're kind of looking at a 27%. Not bad. Soul Sword, which is going to be available to any girls on your support squad that apply Bioshield. So you're looking at Moose and Odil, but ideally Callan. When you grant Bioshield, you're increasing the target's damage boost by up to 10%. But remember, it's only 1 stack and it lasts for 2 turns. So bringing multiples of these on your team, on the same team, is not going to be effective because it's only 1 stack. Keep that in mind. I highly recommend that everyone pull at least 1 copy of this mark. Contract for Callan. The first turn, you're reducing the user's max HP, which is ideally Callan, and dealing indirect damage to enemies in the column with Callan. On their subsequent turns, the max HP is reduced by 20% and additional indirect damage is done. Up to 10% of max HP. And remember, only 1 mark can be brought. Callan likes to draw the line between life and death and uses a lot of mechanics of dying so she can come back into extra bonus shenanigans. So this is a good mark to get her health down. Ideally, you want your Callan to be as close as possible to 5-star OF1 to get the most out of those death and revival abilities. So contract mark is one way to do it. Highly recommended if you're pulling for Callan, and if you already have a Callan but not the mark, use your mark tickets to go after the contract mark for your Callan. Morsta. She applies feared status, so when an enemy is feared, the wearer gains an extra 5% damage boost and a 5% damage reduction boost until the end of the battle, up to 4 times. Awesome that it's until the end of the battle. Feared is a little hard to get off, so getting an additional reward with this mark on your Morsta is going to be really great. It doesn't even have to be a Morsta, it could be any character, but this is dedicated to Morsta. If the wearer is Morsta on that note though, all debuffs received by the target while... what? By the target are additionally increased by 15% when they're feared. Limit 3 per team. So yeah, I'll take that extra damage boost, especially when the enemy's feared. So you can put this on your DPS girl. And if it's Morsta, well, you know, you're getting additional debuffs on the target. So that they're all increasing by that 50%, which is all right. You know, definitely some testing to be done there, but it could be a 20% damage boost, a 20% damage reduction boost if another girl on a team of Morsta is wearing this Dominion mark. Might have to look at considering getting a couple of those, maybe at least 2. Nightmare mark. When an enemy is in the nightmare control state, is hit by control, the wearer has a 40% chance to gain 1 energy point and a 10% attack boost for 1 turn. Applicable to all girls, but ideally you would want to have this on your Morsta or on a DPS girl when Morsta is already on the team for that sweet attack boost. And if, you know, especially if you're like Beast Folk, but any team really, you want to get that extra energy whenever the character is in nightmare state and getting hit by control. Remember that Nightmare increases the chance of getting controlled by any of the statuses. It can be any of the control 1 through 4. So really strong ability from Morsta, especially when you have other control girls like Hecate or Mordor on the same team with that Morsta. So these marks very much geared towards the Darkin characters that we have going on this week, and that even gets me more excited to cover what the Darkin girls are like, but you're gonna have to stay tuned for a future video on that front. So stepping over real quick to Lingering Dream, the Darkin banner is up. It's looking great. Lots to do. I haven't even dove into it. We just got so many events this week, and I'm very excited to pick up where this one's leaving off and dive into the Darkin banner. So keep an eye out for this week. We're gonna have guides on the community Discord, as well as maybe some posts and also extra items on the different community pages in the description of this video. So definitely take a look at that. Comment down below which Darkin character you're wanting to pull, and if you have any questions about their marks or the other activities that are going on, I am happy to hear and answer wherever I can. Anyways, that's going to do it for this video. Let me know if there's any questions or who your favorite overall Darkin character and why. I'm loving any facts anyone can give me, and again, just love to hear it from all of y'all. So that'll be it for this one. When you're pulling for your gacha and your Darkins, you have the best of luck.